Hello, family. Let's get right to it. You've been lied to again. Some so called pro black voices, I like to call them pro black imposters, told you that Trump's anti DEI war wasn't really aimed at us, that it wasn't about us, because DEI only helped white women. Therefore, Trump's anti DEI policies don't hurt black people. They were dead wrong. No, actually, they were lying to you intentionally. They were trying to excuse Trump's anti-blackness since they told you to vote for Trump or vote for the couch. And now black women are paying the price for that disinformation. So let's start with the numbers. As of May 2025, black women's unemployment rate jumped to 5.8%. That's higher than black men, white men, and white women. Meanwhile, Trump's anti-DEI purge led to a 33% drop in black women working in the federal government, the one sector where our community has real upward mobility. Now, regarding white women, their unemployment rate remained the same. It stayed flat. So yes, they benefited most from DEI, but they aren't the ones being targeted. Trump is using anti-DEI rhetoric as cover to dismantle black careers, especially black women's careers. And here's what the pro-black imposters won't tell you. When you attack black women economically, you're destabilizing entire black families. Why? Because so many black households are led by black women. We need to change that. But that's the case for now, because they are the primary breadwinners, caregivers, and anchors of a lot of black homes. So when Trump's policies fire them and strip them of health insurance and cut off their income, that hurts black kids, that hurts black elders, that hurts the entire black community. The very same people who told you Trump wasn't a threat are now silent, while the sisters are losing everything. These imposters, these pro-black imposters, pushed the lie that DEI was just a hustle for white women. But Trump's policies don't target white women. They target blacks, especially black women. I'm Reverend and Civil Rights Attorney Augustus Corbett. Wake up and stay woke.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, there is one thing that has always been an issue in the second Trump administration. Looking at how they campaigned and the kind of outcomes that we are having right now, there is a sense in which blacks have been subjected to some things that are quite unique. For example, you find that once Trump got to office, there are certain things that he wanted to do away with completely. The DEI offices, he targeted them and eliminated them. He wanted to find a way through which blacks can be subdued. He wanted to find a way in which only white Americans can get access to things that are valuable. For example, look at this. We know that blacks have been subjected to years and years of discrimination. And if you look at the level within which they could get opportunities, for example, of employment, it was not very fair. It was skewed against them. And therefore, the creation of DEI was to ensure that affirmative actions can be implemented so that places where people have not been served justice can feel to get this kind of justice that they have been denied over the years. But then Trump came and decided to really restructure the entire system so that blacks, regardless of the steps that were being made to really integrate them into American system, get to be removed from the system. So that is what is happening. And that is why you find that most blacks right now, regardless of the fact that some black voted for him, we are realizing out that the entire script that was told about the Project 2025 is coming into effect. And in fact, it is not just being implemented. It is culminating right now. And that really tells you that blacks have a long way to go. I came across some clips that talk about this issue. I want you to take a listen to them. Then we shall talk in the end. Let's watch.
At the behest of Donald Trump, The military is dropping recruiting efforts at prestigious Black Engineering Awards events. The Army and other service branches are abandoning recruiting efforts at prestigious Black engineering events this week, turning down access to a key pool of highly qualified potential applicants amid President Trump's purge of diversity initiatives in the military. What this man wants is an all-white, all-male military. Very similar to what Hitler had. It's time to wake up, white folk. See, no, this is not our fight as Black people. This is not our fight. God is pulling back the veil of racism. It is boiling to the top like never before, so that you white folk can repent. Those of you whose hearts have been hardened towards people of color, you those who operate in racism and prejudice, God is trying to get you to repent. But I'm here to tell you, and I'm warning you, judgment is about to be upon you because of the sins of your forefathers that some of you have never even recognized, never even acknowledged, and definitely never repented from. Because if you repented from it, you turned away from it. This spirit of hate is running rampant on the land. And you white evangelicals sitting in your fine establishments every Sunday, drinking your coffee every Sunday in your churches, praising, lifting holy hands with your Trump stickers and your Confederate flags waving in your parking lots. Judgment's going to start with you. You white evangelical pastors that have not renounced the spirit of racism and not trying to fight against this spirit in Washington, the blood is going to be on your hands. The Bible says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. God's people, Black people, we are God's chosen people. In spite of what the lies people have told you that other people are, no. Black people are God's chosen. White folk, you better repent because judgment is steadily coming upon you. And you all better fight with everything in you, your spirit, soul, and body, against the powers that be in Washington. Because the very grave that you think you're digging for Black people, you and your generations to come will fall in before we ever will. Touch not God's anointed and do his prophets no harm.
I think even if you only care about African Americans, it does not make sense to make a huge stand against immigrants, because ultimately the only people that are served by oppressing immigrants are the people at the top of the system. I think that FBA believers can absolutely acknowledge that Black people are not the ones benefiting from systemic racism. So if we as African Americans are engaging in systemic racism by oppressing or not supporting or not advocating for immigrants, particularly Black immigrants, we are going to put ourselves, we're on the same level as them already. From the perspective of up here, it's like y'all want to be like, oh, it's white people and then it's African Americans and immigrants. But to white people, we're all the same.
Find ourselves in politically actually reminds me a lot of the movie Sinners. Probably not for the reason you think, though. When we meet the character Remick, he is running like a bat out of hell, literally, away from a danger that we don't know at the time. He comes to a random house, banging on the door, begging to be let in an attempt to, take refuge from the danger following him. And initially, in an attempt to get in, he's telling a sob story about how he lost his wife. But then he sees something. Sitting directly behind the man and woman who opened the door is a bench. And on that bench is a Klan uniform. Remick sees that, and he stops telling that sob story and suddenly reaches into his pocket, pulls his hand out of his pocket, extends it to them, and goes, I have gold. Will you please let me in? And they do. And as a result, they're the first people to die in the movie. Moments later, we learn that Remick is a vampire. So in letting him in, they have sealed everybody's fate. When Remick comes up to that door and starts telling a story about how he lost his wife, please let me in, he's doing so because he's like, these are humans, and from humans I expect empathy. He is trying to capitalize on the fact that these are empathetic beings. But he doesn't find that. He finds supremacy. When he looks behind him and sees a symbol of supremacy, he immediately starts speaking a different language because he knows that the language supremacist respect. I got gold. Please let me in. His wife being taken from him wasn't enough. That's what he was saying initially. Oh, they took my wife. They're trying to kill me. That was never enough. But got him right on in. Within a moment, Remick is able to deduce that white supremacists are not empathetic beings. My struggles do not matter to them. All that matters to them is how I can benefit them. And when I dangle what I can benefit, I can get in within a moment. Crying, talking to them, reasoning, yelling. Don't matter when you're dealing with supremacists. You're not speaking the language they speak. And what incentive do they have to help you? Because they see you struggling? How does that benefit them? These are people so focused on how they can benefit from a bad situation that they don't even realize that they're sealing their own fate too. Now, back to us. The first time around, our Remick was just sitting on the porch, yapping, talking, yelling about stuff that he couldn't get done. And at that point, it was up to us as empathetic beings to turn him around. But it didn't happen. Went around campaigning, talking. Went to one group, didn't land. Went to another group, didn't land. Then he looked deeper into the house and found the supremacy. Reached into that pocket, pulled it out, they let him in, and boom, 4 more years. And now he's not yelling. Now he's not talking about stuff he can't get done. And though some of them do, a lot of them don't even realize that in our situation, he's a vampire. They don't even know that he's about to feed off of them. But now he's here, and he's powerful because he has fed off of some of us. But we aren't that far into the movie yet. He ain't made it to the juke joint yet. The rest of us still have choices. But the sun is going down. We're just going to sit, try to wait the night out, watch him turn our friends, loved ones, the whole town to monsters, take them off their health care, eventually just kill them all slowly. Or are we going to get organized? The part of the lesson that I feel like everyone is getting from Sinners is that you shouldn't let him in, but it's too late for us now. He is here. He is in. What do you do once he's in? We not outnumbered. We out organized.
Do you want to know how bigoted the Trump administration is? Because I'm about to tell you. It's been deleting all references to black and female soldiers. That includes from the DOD website, it includes from the White House website, and I think most appallingly from the Arlington National Cemetery. These are people who fought and in some cases literally died for America. They've won awards for heroism, and they're being deleted from history because in Trump's America, you are not allowed to be black or a woman and have contributed to the country. And last night I saw a really shocking example of it. It eliminated pages commemorating a guy named Charles Calvin Rogers, a black man. Rogers retired as a brigadier general, but in Vietnam, he won the Medal of Honor, America's highest medal of valor, because he defended his base from 3 separate assaults while being severely wounded 3 times. But he's a black man, so it doesn't count. And now if you Google him, here's what his page on the Department of Defense website says. It's listing him as having the DEI Medal of Honor, as if they only gave it to him because he's black. And that's where America is now. That's how bigoted these people are. If you're black, if you're a woman, if you're gay, if you're trans, if you're anything but a straight white man, anything you've got, anything you've been given, anything you've won has been given to you because you're one of those groups. Not only are they saying that prejudice and bigotry don't exist, but also the only people who can validly achieve anything are white men. Otherwise, it doesn't count. Otherwise, DEI. And somehow that even includes people who have gone out onto the battlefield and been shot and killed for their country. If we acknowledge them, somehow it's DEI. It's white male supremacy straight up. The only valid citizens are white men. Everyone else is suspect. Everyone else is second class. This has explicitly become the ideology of the Trump administration. No one has any place here but white men. And everyone else, black, brown, gay, trans, non-citizen, female, you not only have nothing to contribute to the country, according to the Trump administration, but you should be deleted from history if you had contributed something previously. You should be deleted and forgotten.
They don't run jails, they operate death camps with vending machines. Southern Regional is not malfunctioning, it is a human disposal site dressed in correctional uniforms. 32 people have died in under 4 years. That is not mismanagement, it is mass murder under fluorescent lights. Sales overflow with filth. Medication is withheld, bodies decay while guards scroll on their phones and nurses play God. This has nothing to do with justice. The only thing getting served in that building is the state's appetite for control. Corruption doesn't begin to cover it. This is class war dressed in legal code. Their targets are not criminals. They're poor, the sick, and the addicted. None of this is accidental. They watched people die, saw the walls collapse, heard the screams, ignored the rot, and signed off anyway. MTC, CoreCivic, Geo Group, corporations soaked in blood, kept alive by billion-dollar contracts and institutional impunity. While one hand tightens sentencing laws, the other slashes healthcare. Construction crews raise more cages, departments hire more cops, and the whole machine is sold as safety. What they count on is silence. What they're betting on is exhaustion. But every cage plants rebellion. Every funeral sharpens the blade. This system is not broken. It is functioning with precision, efficient, brutal, intentional. A corpse in a cell means profit for a contractor, campaign cash for a politician, another podium speech about law and order from a suit too clean to touch the mess he made. There are no errors here, only cruelty refined into policy. Pleas for treatment are answered with new prisons. Calls for housing are met with riot gear purchases. As we bury our people, they count the money. This is terror with a budget, a bureaucratic lynching masked by badges, contracts, and redacted reports. Reform is not the demand. Rupture is. No more commissions stacked with cowards. No more oversight that never intervenes. And no more apologies launched like smoke grenades to obscure the damage. Rip the foundations out. Flatten the jails. Each cell left standing is a confession. This system does not need tweaks. It needs to be annihilated. Abolition is not idealism, it's how we survive. Label it extremism if they want. There's nothing more extreme than forcing people to die in state-run tombs while pretending it's law. Life is what we want in its place. Clinics where the cages stood. Homes where bodies were once locked away. Dignity where they installed despair. This is not some far-off fantasy. It is a line in the sand. That system will not collapse under its own weight. Its end comes only when we organize harder than they cage. Not just to mourn, not just to demand, but to dismantle, to confront, to destroy everything they've built on our backs. This is not protest. It is counteroffensive, and we're already on the move.
Have y'all read this? Undocumented immigrants were able to access federal funds for trade schools because of the Clinton administration. Clinton administration violated the act, the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, which was specifically for U.S. citizens and people that were over here legally. Under this act, there was federal funds set aside to help citizens come out of poverty, to help citizens not depend on welfare. These were like post-secondary programs such as careers and skill and trade and skill programs. Clinton administration, he wrote a letter in 1997, "Dear colleagues, please exempt the post-secondary programs from this act. Please exempt the post-secondary programs from this act." And that's how undocumented immigrants were able to access federal funds and Pell Grants to help them go through trade school and other career opportunities. That was specifically meant for U.S. citizens and permanent residents that were trying to come out of poverty or that was trying to come off of welfare dependency, depending on the government in general. Mind you, this was from 1997. They've been having access to these federal funds for trade school.
Project 2025 is not going to be started in 2025. It is not the year of the project's initiation. It is the year in which the Heritage Foundation looks to as the project's culmination. For the latter part of 40 years, the Heritage Foundation has put forth agendas and projects initiatives and allocated resources and funds to pilot those initiatives and give them a foothold in our democracy and in our government on the local, state, and federal level. That's why I emphasize the importance of voting on every level. The Heritage Foundation understood the importance of every level of government, from local, from our school boards, all the way up to our Supreme Court. You have to understand, the Heritage Foundation is responsible and played a major role in the election of Ronald Reagan. The Heritage Foundation is responsible and played a major role in the Supreme Court that we see today. The Heritage Foundation is responsible for the creation, the conception, and the authorship of Project 2025. Understand that Project 2025, in tandem with Agenda 47, is aimed at bringing these ideas to fruition in the year 2025. Do you understand that these ideas have been enacted already? When I hear people say, oh, it's just a conservative think tank, it's not real. It's a conservative wish list. When I hear people say that, I ask them a couple of things, starting off with the fact that in order for it to be a wish list, it means it's something that you wish to happen, which means that we've agreed that there are groups of conservatives who wish and yearn for this type of thing to happen. That's the first problem. The second problem, and the question that I ask, is have you read it? Because if you've read it for yourself, you'd understand and you'd see that this is not a wish list, a think tank, or an idea. This is reality. The things outlined in that project have already happened. It has already happened. You have to ask yourself, who has piloted such abhorrent policies, agendas, and ideas? Who is actively trying to undermine our democracy? You got to think a little bit deeper than just your political ideology. You have to think a little bit deeper than party right now. And ask yourself, why would the Supreme Court aggrandize its own power by overturning Chevron deference? It made the judiciary more powerful. Why would it do that? How does that help you and I? How does that help the people? Why would the Supreme Court rule to make a president immune from criminal prosecution, even if they commit criminal acts under their official capacity in the office of the presidency? How does that help us as the people when our leaders don't abide by the same rules that we have to abide by? How does that help us? How does it help us or anyone else to say that voting is not a fundamental right and that it's not constitutionally protected? How does that help anyone? How does that help the people? How does it help the people to dissolve the Department of Education and attack education? How does that help us? Project 2025 is not aimed at helping people. the people, us, you and I. It's not aimed at helping us. It's aimed at keeping one demographic of people in power. Because they realize that they are losing their grip on power. And now they're doing everything in their power to keep it. You have to understand something. Justice does not occur while you sit in the audience and watch it walk across the stage. Justice will not come and just sit in your lap. It's not going to fall out the sky, hit you up top the head. That's not how it works. Justice is an ever-ending initiative, action. Because people understand that if you have enough compassion, enough hope, and enough optimism, that you can fight for justice. Justice is something that you have to fight for. And we have to fight for it. Battle at the ballot box, vote, organize, get involved, understand, educate yourself. Do not allow yourself to be indoctrinated by misinformation. People telling you that it's a think tank. People telling you that this is not real. It's a fallacy. It's not reality. It's an idea. It's so extreme and ridiculous and abysmal. They say it to you to convince you that it's an impossibility so that they can go behind your back and under your nose and implement it without you even noticing. Understand. This is bigger than two people, than two parties. It's about our democracy, because we have seen how outlined in Project 2025 they want to undermine our democratic republic. They want to quite literally terminate aspects of the Constitution. How does that help anyone? Look through the trees, see the forest. Look beyond your conservatism, your republicanism, your liberalism. Look beyond that and see the forest. Understand what's actually happening right now. And come together to ensure that our democracy does not crumble at our feet. Project 2025 is not a joke. It's not a game. Someone sat down. Many people sat down and wrote this out. They sat down and put this on paper. They sat down and implemented it. Many people are believing the lies that Project 2025 isn't real. What do you mean it's not real? Have you read it? They can't do the stuff in there. It's too extreme. That's not a possibility. They wrote it down and it's happening. And that's how I know those who have read it and those who have not. Because those who have read it as a collective, no matter which side of the aisle you find yourself leaning towards as a collective, if you've read that agenda, you are in staunch opposition to it because you understand how pernicious it is to our society and how harmful it is to people. If you haven't read the agenda, a telltale sign is when you say that stuff can't happen. Because if you were reading it for yourself, which I encourage you to do, read it for yourself. If you were reading it for yourself, you'd be able to pinpoint exactly in that manuscript what has already taken place and transpired. You'd be able to see exactly what has already occurred. As you're reading it for yourself, read it for yourself and vote accordingly, because there's a reason they're attacking education. There's a reason they're distancing themselves from it as a campaign. There's a reason they're trying to convince you that it's liberal propaganda and fear-mongering. No, this is what's happening right now. We see it happening. And they put it in 920 pages to deter you from reading it. Read it for yourself. Do not take my word for it, anybody else's. Read it for yourself, and you will see exactly what's at stake. I encourage you to vote. I encourage you to keep the optimism and the hope that change can happen as long as we continue to make it happen. Vote accordingly. Educate yourself. And do not believe the mis and disinformation that tries to convince you that this stuff is not real, because we see it on a daily basis.
Black Americans, have y'all noticed something? How we getting attacked by all these immigrant groups here in America? We getting attacked by the Mexicans. We getting attacked by the Africans. We getting attacked by the Caribbeans. We getting attacked by the Venezuelans. We getting attacked by all these, and even the Indians now coming at us sideways. Now that's crazy. Even the Indians coming out sideways. But what's funny, we tried to be allied to these people for decades on this land. For decades on this land. Now, we've been trying to tell them, like, listen, y'all trying to get close to whiteness. Them people don't like y'all. They gonna turn on y'all. Oh, shut up. You don't know no better. You work hard. You don't work hard. We work hard. They want us because we work hard. Now they getting a wake-up call. And guess what they doing? They running to Black Americans for help. Hey, I thought we was brothers. What about the Black and brown community? Hey, brother, me and you are African. Me and you are African. You my brother. You supposed to stand with us. That's what they doing now. It's a reason why them Africans keep telling us lately that we African. And reason why they saying that because they want to crowbar their way into Black American society so they can be protected. No. At the beginning, y'all say we ain't African. Y'all say we ain't have no culture. Y'all say all these disparaging things. Now Trump getting some act right. Trump sending y'all back. Even the Haitians was very disrespectful to us on this app. Now, I met some cool Haitians in my life, and I'm sad to see some of my Haitian partners got to go back to Haiti. But Trump did say it's safe out there for y'all to go back. But I will fight for my friends in Haiti. That's Haitians. I'm trying to, let them come over here or something and hang out, and my Jamaican friends too, because I don't have no problem with Jamaicans too much, except on this app. But anyway, it's just mighty strange how disrespectful y'all have been to. Y'all disrespected our culture. Y'all disrespected our icons. Y'all disrespected our ancestors. Y'all disrespected our music. Y'all did all these things to us. And now y'all want us to help. My thing is, why y'all don't talk to the YT people? Those the ones that are deporting y'all. Those the ones that want y'all out of here. Why y'all not fighting towards them? Why y'all not focusing y'all attention on them? A Haitian should not come in my inbox cussing me out, talking about what I'm going to do when my family got to leave by September the 2nd. Why are you talking to me? Talk to your representative out there where you stay at. Don't message me about what's going on. It's crazy because we've been telling y'all about these people, and y'all do not want to fight back. Y'all don't want to fight back. Y'all want to mess with us. Nah, we ain't doing that. We're going to see how y'all can stand on y'all own 10 toes. That's for all those groups. Now, if I'm cool with you, I'm going to fight for you. But collectively, I'm not fighting for y'all. And that's just keeping it real. And a lot of my FBA people disagree with me on that, but I live a real life. I have Hispanic friends. I have African friends. I'm cool with Haitian friends. I'm cool with all these people. But yeah, but anyway, y'all fight for yourself and hold your own nuts.
Yes, welcome back to the channel. Now, looking at what has just been played there, you are able to see and understand that blacks within America are going through a lot. And it seems Project 2025 is being implemented to its conclusion. And everything that Trump wanted to do against the blacks, he's achieving it. Black Americans living under the second Trump administration feel subdued and targeted due to policies and rhetoric that appear to disproportionately harm their communities. Executive actions such as the elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and attack on civil rights protection signal a rollback of gains made to address systemic racism. For instance, the administration push for an end to the DEI initiatives in federal agencies and its labeling of such efforts as discriminatory against white people creates an environment where black voices and experiences are marginalized. Additionally, policies like mass deportation plans and increased policing in minority neighborhoods, as outlined in Project 2025, heighten fears of racial profiling and economic exclusion. These actions foster a sense of vulnerability as black communities face heightened scrutiny and reduced access to resources. This is the truth. You find that the elimination of the DEI opportunities really rolls back things that have been done to eliminate systemic racism in America. For example, if you look at the rate of employment, there is just a skewed way in which whites cannot get employed as equal to blacks. If a black person with similar qualifications to that white person make an application, they will look at the names and they will say, this name sounds black, and they will eliminate them. And those who sound white will get those callbacks. So it tells you that the DEI was there to really balance the scales. But right now, Trump sees that you can't do that. You are harming our white people because America is a white America. So they believe that the system that was being created to create equity is not working for people, but it is working against white people. So they don't want them to proceed. That's why they said there must be an end to the DEI opportunities that were there in federal government. The administration's alignment with Project 2025 amplifies these concerns. Project 2025 proposes dismantling the Department of Education, which could weaken civil rights enforcement in schools, and rolling back student loan forgiveness programs that disproportionately benefit black borrowers. It also advocates for policies that critics argue normalize white supremacy, such as ending affirmative action and restricting reproductive rights, which proportionately affect black women. The appointment of Project 2025 contributors like Russ Vought and Stephen Miller to key roles further suggest an intent to implement the agenda, intensifying fears of systemic targeting. This is already happening. Trump government has dismantled the Department of Education, just directly lifted from Project 2025, as it were. So this really tells you that every bad thing that was proposed in the document, the 900-page document, is going to be implemented slowly by slowly. They decided that they are going to end the affirmative action that was there in federal government departments, looking at what Trump did when he first came to office, eliminating the DEI opportunities. That really killed the things that black people were supposed to get. So this really tells you that Trump's governance in the second term is just removed and lifted outrightly from the Project 2025 playbook, as it were. Targeting of black cultural institutions and historical narratives add to the sense of separation. Executive orders attacking National Museum of African American History and reducing funding for historically black colleges and universities are seen as efforts to erase black contributions and history. Project 2025 push to eliminate programs like Head Start and alter the Minority Business Development Agency's focus undermines economic opportunities for black communities. These moves, combined with the rhetoric, vilify critical race theory and DEI, create a perception that the administration seeks to diminish black identity and power. Trump is doing almost everything that he can to really ensure that blacks remain poor. Blacks remain at the lower end of the racial hierarchies. Blacks remain to be subdued and lack contribution to the overall governance structures of American system. The culmination of these policies under Project 2025 framework is viewed as a deliberate effort to erode black equality and reinforce racial hierarchies. The blueprints call for increased presidential authority and reduce federal oversight of discrimination cases threaten to weaken protections established by the Civil Rights Act. Social media sentiments, particularly from black voices, reflect fears of a new Jim Crow era, with policies that could challenge citizenship rights and exacerbate disparity in healthcare, housing, and education. While Trump has distanced himself from Project 2025 publicly, the involvement of his allies and the administration's early actions suggests its influence, making black Americans feel uniquely targeted in a broader conservative agenda. This is the case, and I think it will all need everybody to come on board and fight this Trump administration in a way that they will not be able to allow them exert such kind of things towards black people. Blacks have been persecuted enough, and it's time for them to really be given space to thrive. So that's it from me today. Share your thoughts down in the comment section, and if you're watching us for the first time, please consider subscribing, Like the video and share. Thank you, and let's meet on the next one.